Hey, good morning. Pat Zemer here with MagnaWave for our Tuesday morning edition of the office hours. A little slight delay this morning, traffic issues and so forth, but we're here, set up, ready to go, and we want to certainly answer any questions or have any discussion that you might like to have this morning with regard to MagnaWave or anything that goes on with that, with regard to machines, training, certification, associations, whatever you'd like to discuss. Give me a shout or post your question here in the chat box, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. At this time, I think I've got the. Let's see if I can get it to come up to where I can see the questions. Whoops. All right, how's it going here? There we go. So I need to make sure I'm turned down. We've changed our. What are we doing? We've changed the way we're streaming. We're also going to YouTube at the same time as we're coming to you on Facebook, and the only challenge that it presents is that I don't see the questions on my TV screen over here. I have to get my questions off the Facebook chat area, and so I'm seeing that. I'm sorry. We'll get fired up here. Oh, okay. How do I see the questions? It's there. I just don't. Of course, I don't have any questions yet. That could be probably part of the issue. So if you've got some questions, simply put them up there, and we will comments. All right. Oh, we got 4 comments. Let's see the comment. Hi, Hazel. All right. Let's see. What do I need to do to see the comments? Well, this is frustrating. Should have all the comments on here. Well, no good. I don't like that. Not, if you'd like to send me a text and I will call you, that will work out just fine. So I'll get this figured out how I can see the comments here in just a second to be able to answer any questions that you may have. There are a couple of questions that have been posted on the Certified Practitioners page that I would like to address and discuss a little bit at this time. Certainly don't forget MagnaCon's coming up in 2 weeks, 12th, 13th, and 14th of June. There are still some tickets available. We're going to have about 25% higher attendance this year than we did last year, so we're excited that it continues to grow. One exciting thing about MagnaCon this year, on Wednesday night, we'll have a screening of the Dog Doc. That's Dr. Marty Goldstein's new documentary that is out about his integrative form of practice and what he's done over the years with integrative medicine. So that will be Wednesday night. It'll be a free presentation Wednesday night at MagnaCon. So if you're in the area and you want to come see us Wednesday night, be sure to call the office and secure some tickets. They're free, but we have limited seating. So if you'd like to do that on Wednesday night with us, it'll be a good time and a lot of education. Dr. Marty will be here answering questions and so forth during after the presentation of the film, The Dog Doc, produced by Cedar Creek Productions and Cindy Meal, who is a good friend and a movie producer, did a lot of documentaries. She did Buck, about Buck Brannaman, various things that she's done. So let's go ahead and if you want to come to MagnaCon, I believe call the office or magnacon.com and we will get you some tickets if you'd like to come. Here's a question. Any success stories on treating stress fractures on a horse? Any input would be appreciated. And then there was a second question that was asked to that. Should we still wait a couple of weeks if there's a stress fracture before we begin to treat? Okay, so here's a way to take a look at that. Primarily, the reason that we like to wait when there's a fracture or something like that is we want it to begin to heal in a good fashion so that as we begin to treat, we're not going to get some false positives if they do a radiograph after you've been treating for a few weeks and it looks like it's closed up, but in fact in the middle it's still healing and coming together. So that's why we put out the time on horses primarily, because we don't want to get false reads in what's happening to the healing process. Now, with that said, if it's a stress fracture and you want to start on it and they know what the routine is going to be as far as the healing of the animal and how that's going to progress, you can begin treating immediately and following that process to maybe get that stress fracture further down the road in the healing process than what you would have if you waited. Now, again, we wait on breaks because we want them to get a good chance to begin the healing process and then come in and enhance. And then if they do any x-rays or anything like that, they get a better read on that type situation. But yes, you can begin treating on a person, for example, because we know they're going to be in a cast or we know they're in a boot. They're going to watch what they do and take care of themselves. You can start treating sooner, but again, it's because of we don't want a false positive on the x-rays that may be taken. So that's the situation with a stress fracture. You can begin to treat. If you wait the 7 to 14 days, you're fine. That's perfect. But since it's not an actual break, it's kind of like a strain. If you have a severe strain in an ankle or something like that, you can begin treating immediately in order to achieve some of the results that you're looking for as an aid to healing. Another question that was asked, let me take a look at this one, talks about this person asked the question on the paddle: is one side stronger than the other on the paddle, on the zoom paddle? Typically, there is a slight difference between front or back, and the question was, they had the logo up and they felt that it was a little stronger if they had the logo down. Well, when they build those things, I'm not sure they look at which side they're going to put that cover on. Great idea, great thought, but the difference in intensity on the paddle from one side to the other is negligible. So you may seem a little stronger. That's fine if you want to use the stronger side, but typically it makes no difference which side you use and which side is up. And a good thing would be for us to understand when they put the covers on, and it's never really been an issue, so we've never really thought about it. So we will pursue that and see the best way to put the covers on so we can tell you the strongest side of the paddle. Again, though, it's negligible in the slight difference between either side of the paddle. Another question, pregnant mare, 6 weeks along, got her leg caught in a fence and it is swollen. The owners would like to have the horse treated. Is it safe to do when the mare is pregnant? And the answer is, what you need to think about is you certainly want to clear that with a veterinarian or who's in the owner for sure, of the horse. But if you're treating a leg, the primary thing is we don't want to treat. They're going to contraindicate any type of treatment. That typically happens, but there's been plenty of times where a horse has been injured and they're going to do something to the horse to help the injury, whether it's caught in a fence or something else happened. And in those types of situations, then you take care and you're careful and you work under the guidance of a veterinarian or a doctor and treat accordingly. Is it a problem to treat a leg or an ankle that's been injured and in pregnancy? It's not a problem at all. There's nothing that's going to happen to cause anything. We don't want to treat the area where the foal is or where the fetus is in the body. We don't want to treat that. We don't want a lot of movement in that area. We want that to be natural. So that's why we stay away from those types of situations. And as you know, doctors will contraindicate almost anything when it comes to that type of situation as far as the healing is concerned in a horse or even a person. Now, so again, if you have any questions, just give me a shout. Be happy to answer them for you. Let me come over and see if I can get that page, our corporate page, to come up here, and maybe I'll be able to see the questions. Here we go. Let's take a look. If you have a text that if you'd like to talk with me, simply send a text to 502-599-9722. I will call you back and we can have a conversation about whatever it is that you would like to discuss. Here we go. Let's see, here we are. John Stevens got a question. Good. Can someone with gallstones awaiting operation use MagnaWave in that area for the pain? All right, let's see. The situation with gallstones, if they're waiting on surgery, you don't want to, can you treat for pain? Yes. You don't want to do something that's going to cause them to, if they can't go, if they can't be passed, you don't want to put them into a situation that all of a sudden it's trying to pass and it's causing a lot of pain. So you want to be careful in that type of situation. I know that there are people that have had gallstones and the doc says, yes, you're going to pass it or you're going to do this. Go ahead and treat, because you're just going to enhance the passing process. So it depends on what the situation is. Could you moderately treat the area for some pain without doing a lot of stimulation or a lot of flexing in the area? For sure. And to get some pain relief in that situation. Just the thought is, if you put it on there and you're pulsing pretty good and you get it to move, you don't want to cause it to become in a very uncomfortable type of situation. And then John also asked, he had a situation where he had a machine plugged in and he had a buzzing sound in the machine. This is a digital machine that he has, and on the digital machines, they are smart. So if you're in Europe and you want to plug it in, you just plug it in and the machine recognizes the power and operates appropriately or accordingly. If you plug it in the United States in 110 or 120, the machine recognizes that and operates in that fashion. John had a situation where he had a buzzing sound that he was hearing in his machine when he was plugged in, and about all we could ascertain, and the factory is doing some additional research on that to make sure in the smart mode that everything switches accordingly. So there could have been a switch in there that wasn't perfectly switched, or the power was a little different, that it caused a little background noise in the device, which certainly causes those types of situations to be addressed. But we are taking a look at that at the factory, John, to try to make sure that where things are with that. CE, I will be checking with them again this morning. They have been continually, and the people at the inspecting, the people that did the factory inspections that say, yeah, everything's coming, and gee, I don't know why you haven't gotten your letter yet, and it'll be here. So we're playing that bureaucracy game at this point with the CE type of situation. So let's see, any other questions here? Okay, Nancy asked a question, do you have a one-page information sheet on PEMF MagnaWave I can share with my spine oncologist? We do have some one-sheet type of presentations, Nancy. If you'll call the office and talk with Chris, we'll see that you get the information that you're looking for, or you can call the office 502-742-7868 and ask for Erin, and she can get you the information that you're looking for your oncologist and information that they may want. Now, again, you understand that we have a lot of information on how it's used in various clinics around the country when it comes to oncology, and how it's used in Europe. And it's differently used in Europe and at cancer clinics outside of the United States than it is in the United States, because of the approvals required in the United States and how things need to be done. But we can get you information and show you what people have done. There are some devices that are approved in the United States for brain tumors, and how the PEMF works with the brain tumor, helping to keep the tumor size down, and in some cases improving the oxygen, not in some cases, but improving the oxygenation, which cancer doesn't like that oxygen, and that can help attack the cancer cells and those types of situations. So we do have stuff available, so if you just, again, give the office a call, and they'd be happy to talk with you and get you the information that you're looking for. Good question. Okay, let's see, another question here. Fractures in horses, when do you start treating? Again, we talked about that a little earlier. We'd like to wait 7 to 14 days or so, 7, 10, 14 days to let it begin to heal, and then to begin to treat. If it's a stress fracture and there's no break and you want to just promote the healing, you can get after it more rapidly as far as when you treat. And as long as you're treating and you know what the veterinarian wants you, how the veterinarian wants you to operate, you can treat at their direction as well. I've been reading the book PEMF, The Fifth Element. In it, the author talks about a 1995 study by Siskin and Walker in which the specific hertz frequencies are optimum for various healing. 2 hertz for nerve regeneration, 7 hertz for bone growth, 10 hertz for ligament healing. Can the hertz be measured to do our best to duplicate these recommendations? Okay, so let's talk hertz for a minute. If you go, and Dr. Bob Dennis, who did the NASA study, and Dr. Pollack points out that, let's go back to Bob Dennis. He pointed out that when he did the NASA study, he chose 10 hertz for the delivery of the signal that he was using for that study. And that was an arbitrary number. He said, I could have used 15, I could have used 20, I could have done all this type of stuff. Now, if you go back to a lot of the older studies in the books that you're looking at, that people are writing about, yes, someone does a study, they set it at a specific hertz, they get the response that they're looking for, so that means that that was successful. Does that mean that a different hertz would not be just as successful? No, it means that various hertzes can be just as successful, but certain studies were done under certain parameters. So for you to feel that you have to duplicate what they used for that particular study, a lot of things are differently. For example, if you do our machine at 2 hertz, that's 2 clicks per second, which is also the highest intensity, that may not be comfortable for the person that you're working with at the 2 hertz. So there's a lot of variables. It's the intensity that's being used, and all kinds of things like that. So that does make a difference. So yes, you can count the clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, however often the clicks are occurring, and if you want to do 5 clicks per second, you can get it to that point that you understand what the 5 clicks per second are. However, if you go look at studies, you'll find studies done, there's thousands of studies. Let's just talk about bone healing. For every bone healing study that you find that says 5 hertz, there's another one that says 10 hertz, or another one that says 30 hertz, whatever it may be. So in essence, we talk more about energy. We're wanting to put energy into the body that the body receives, the body utilizes to allow it to better heal itself, or set up for better oxygenation in the body. It's the oxygen, and we can kind of go there in the healing process that we're discussing here. So a lot of different machines, and that's where it comes in as well. The people sell machines and they want to put it here to do this, put it over here to do that, and that's fine. And because what they've also discovered, and it was Dr. Dennis, but Dr. Pollack has said for years that all wavelengths work. So you've got different forms of waves and they work. Dr. Dennis found that the secret to the little better healing capability is when you have a very rapid decline, or what they call a slew rate. So the signal goes up and it drops off very rapidly. It's on that descent, or that slew rate, that Dr. Dennis felt that he got a little better healing process with PEMF devices. So we want that type of wavelength, which is what the MagnaWave devices provide, and then you want to have it at an energy level that is comfortable and for the client, so they get the pain relief they're looking for, they get the oxygenation build that they're looking for, or increased oxygenation, which then comes back and helps the healing process. But if you have a machine, for example, our frequencies are totally adjustable from 2 hertz to 50 hertz, but you have to understand that that's also a different intensity in all of those hertz, so you want to put it where it's comfortable. Someone may not like 2 hertz at all, it may not be comfortable, so you just adjust the machine for comfort. Now, if you have a device and they say that it works better here, that's what they're selling in their device. So they're going to tell you those things. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying they're going to tell you how to adjust and set their device on what is good for their marketing and the development of their devices and their sales. So that I know that gets a little confusing when we stop and talk about it, but we talk energy and Gauss delivery. How much Gauss can we provide? What hertz can we provide? For example, there are devices out there that you can set the hertz at whatever you want, but you're only getting 35 or 50 Gauss. When we talk, we're talking anywhere in the neighborhood up to 10,000, 15,000 Gauss or higher or lower, it could be totally controlled. So we look at it on a different perspective. But that Hertz question continually comes up. I want to duplicate what was done in this particular study, and that's fine, but that's with our type of devices, that's how you'd have to do it, is basically on the digital devices. You can go 1 through 10 and you can kind of figure out what the click rates of those particular signals are, so you can achieve a delivery time or a click rate that you're looking for from the Hertz perspective, if you feel that that's what you want to do. But when it comes right down to it with our devices, we don't look at the Hertz standpoint as much as we look at the intensity, the amount of energy delivered to the area, and the Gauss output that we're putting into the area that we're trying to promote the healing process. Great questions. Let's see here. We have another one. Good morning, folks. Stress fractures in horses. I think we got that. We've already done that one. Let's see if there's another. Okay, if you have a question, simply put it in the chat box there, and I'll certainly try to get to it. But what I'd like to do, let's address, when we're talking about the Hertz and dealing with the various forms of energy, we get calls all the time, or we get texts or emails all the time that says, okay, I want to treat this situation, or I have someone suffering from this. Can this be beneficial to help their healing process or to enhance their blood oxygenation? So the overall secret, if you will, to what we're doing is that we are basically enhancing the flow of the blood in the body. We're enhancing the blood or the blood's opportunity to have the blood cells to take on more oxygen. A well oxygenated blood cell is healthier, does what it's supposed to do in a better manner, and so we want to improve that type of situation. So when it comes down to, I have people ask me all the time, well, can this maybe help someone's pain or be of benefit to someone who has this condition or has that condition? And the answer is, will good oxygenated blood help that situation? And almost always the answer is yes. What doctors try to achieve, that's why you do the blood test. They go and they see how your blood is doing, how your triglycerides and various things going on. You want to try to have as healthy environment in your body as possible, and if you have that, your body can better take care of itself, or your body can better utilize the medications maybe that you have to take for a particular situation that you're dealing with. So to look at specifics, I mean, will it specifically approach this indication? Well, we don't do that. A doctor can do that. A doctor can approach that and say, yes, I've got this type of indication I'm dealing with, and I want to utilize this type of therapy at these levels or at this application rate or whatever it may be for this particular issue that they're dealing with. As practitioners, we're talking about energy delivery to the body to set the body up to be better in a situation, to better heal itself, or to set the person, the animal, small animal, whatever it may be, to be in a position for enhanced healing capabilities. And so, it sounds like in many cases this is beneficial for everything. I'm not going to say it's beneficial. It helps. It helps the well-being. It helps how you feel. It helps depression. It helps headaches. It helps a lot of different things that the body deals with, and you just need to look at it very openly when you ask those. When you have those types of questions, when someone says, and we do it all the time, I have this person has this type situation, or a doctor calls and says, what about this? Well, we'll look and see what that indication is that they're dealing with. We'll talk to one of our medical advisors and say, hey, this is what our situation does, or our device does. Can it be beneficial for this particular indication that someone's dealing with? And most always, if you're talking about improved oxygenation and improved blood flow, then you're talking about an potentiality to improve a situation that you are dealing with in these types of areas. So let's see here. Let's do a quick little refresh and see if we have another question. Here we go. Let's see. Let me pull it down. takes it a second to reload. If you have a question, you'd like to talk with me about it, just send a text to 502-599-9722, and I will phone you back. And if you call me and we talk about something, we'll get you some MagnaWave gear if that's something you'd like to have. Here's a question. Have a horse with confirmed stomach and hind gut ulcers. Can you please go over the exact points to treat and how long to treat for ulcers in horses? Okay, and this great question kind of goes back to what we were discussing just a moment ago. Is you want to basically, well, if you can improve the oxygenation and the blood flow in the gut, then that can help heal or help the body better heal those particular type of ulcers that are there. So you certainly an overall treatment of the body is going to put good oxygenated blood throughout the whole body. So it's going to potentially aid everything that needs help with good oxygenated blood, good blood flow. Now, specifically dealing with that, so you would treat the areas, you'd treat the guts, the gut areas of the horse, and I would treat them, typical treatment is 6 to 8 minutes as you move over the area to, again, get some good blood flow, good oxygenation to the area, maybe relieve some stress in the area that might be causing pain for the animal or whatever it may be. So I would say you would treat 6 to 8 minutes over the area of discomfort or where they have the ulcers to aid that, and then certainly treat the lungs, the upper back area to get good oxygenation through the body, through all blood, that when it goes to those areas it'll be beneficial. This will also allow for better utilization of any medication that they may be giving these animals for the ulcer types of conditions. So there you go. So that's my suggestion on how to take a look at and treat those types of or work on those types of indications that someone may be experiencing. So no texts at this point for a conversation. If you have any other questions, put it in the chat box and I'd be happy to take a look at them and answer them for you. Don't forget, certainly MagnaCon's coming up. We're going to have a good time. We go to Churchill Downs. We have a big event on Friday night where we have music and entertainment and the whole 9 yards there. And then, of course, Dr. Marty's video on Wednesday evening will be played. And so if you want to learn about PEMF, you want to learn about MagnaWave, come on out to MagnaCon and join us and learn and experience all the different machines and talk to all the different practitioners that'll be there. There will be over 200 practitioners with us this year who can certainly share with you and give you a lot of good information as to how they utilize this particular equipment in their day-to-day practices and so forth. Okay, no other questions coming up. We got just a couple of minutes. We started late this morning. I have another meeting coming up here in just a moment, so we're going to have to do that. But let me see here. Okay, no other questions. If you have a question, just simply put it in there. If not, we'll certainly be back next week with more questions and more information that you might want to. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is out of the country. I don't know how that's going to work to give that a call. Let me see. So how's this going to see? Maja? Let's see if we get them. See if we get an answer. Good morning. Finishing up here in just 1 second. Let's see if Maja answers.
Hi, this is Maya.
Hi, Maya. This is Pat Zemer with MagnaWave.
Yeah, hi, Pat.
Hi. You have a question for me?
I have a question for you, and that is, when do you get a digital machine with 2 separate attachments?
Your question is, when will we have a machine that does 2 separate attachments?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, we have one machine now, the Vista Duo, that does have 2 attachments operating at one time, totally independently controlled. The higher powered machines to do 2 attachments is in the final stages of development at the factory that we utilize, and so it'll be a few months yet, I think, before that type of machine is available for 2 attachments at the same time. But we do have the Vesta Duo on the website that will do 2 attachments.
Okay. Thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So there we go. And then if you'd like to, Maya, send an email to support@magnawavepmf.com, and we will get you some MagnaWave gear. Let's make sure no other questions. It looks like that's got the bulk of the questions that have been covered. So I appreciate you being with me this morning, and we will be back next Tuesday for another segment of MagnaWave Office Hours. If you have your questions, you can email them to us, or you can call us, and we'll bring them up on the program, or you can post them online, and we will certainly answer your questions. So happy waving, and thanks for joining me, and have a great week. Bye-bye.